When you ask the co-founder of the SAVE movement, Anita Krines from Canada, why this movement has this particular name, she quite happily tells you the story, and it goes like this. Toronto Pig Save started in December 2010 as a grassroots animal rights vegan group after an adopted dog, Mr. Bean, put us in touch with our community. As I walked with Mr. Bean each morning on Lake Shore, we'd see 8 or 9 transport trucks carrying sad and frightened pigs to a nearby downtown slaughterhouse called Quality Meat Packers. My heart was breaking for these pigs. I could see the fear in their eyes. I could see that they were tired, that they were thirsty, and that some had already given up hope. I went up to the trucks when they stopped at the traffic lights, and I tried to help the pigs by giving them water and touching them. At first I was angry at the system that was doing this to innocent animals, and when I decided to organize and start a group that would try and help these animals, I was thinking of a name along the lines of Close All Slaughterhouses or something like that. But then I realized that the name had to be positive, that the problem would not be solved with the same mindset that created it. So I thought of what I wanted to give these pigs. And of course I wanted to save them, and all animals for that matter. So Toronto Pig Save popped into my head. That would be a name that would give people and the animals, if they could understand it, hope. In July 2011, we committed to holding a minimum of 3 vigils each week to bear witness of pigs and other farmed animals transported to Toronto area slaughterhouses. Soon there were other groups in other places doing what we were doing and using names with the word SAVE in it. And then one day, someone referred to all of our collective groups as the SAVE movement. It was catchy and powerful, so it stuck. Anita maintains that her beloved dog, Mr. Bean, was the co-founder of the SAVE movement, which is why I referred to Anita in the same way in the beginning. Her walks with him were, after all, the reason that she noticed those death trucks in the first place. Sadly, Mr. Bean passed away last year. I give you this background not only because I still get a lot of questions about why the SAVE movement is called the SAVE movement, but to help you understand how it operates. It was born out of pure love. It is driven by love, and all its principles are deeply rooted in love. This is called love-based activism. Our outlook, our goals, our strategies, and our mission are all based on the love-based philosophies of great minds like Leo Tolstoy and Mahatma Gandhi. You might have heard the term bearing witness before, and this is exactly what the SAVE movement does. Leo Tolstoy said, "When the suffering of another creature causes you to feel pain, do not submit to the initial desire to flee from the suffering one, but on the contrary, come closer as you can to him who suffers, and try to help him." This is exactly what bearing witness is, but it also is exactly what love is. It is coming closer when others might turn away. It is putting the needs of the suffering one above your own, having a potentially painful experience to relieve the pain of another. Bearing witness does not always mean you have the opportunity to help directly. When we bear witness to chickens or ducks, we can't give them water and we can't really touch them like you stroke and touch a pig, for example. But bearing witness loses none of its power in those cases. Because by being present, where beings are being sent to their deaths, is an immensely powerful statement. It's powerful because our society conditions us to not look and to not see. Animals are kept out of sight deliberately, so that the suffering can and will not be witnessed. When we show up at these places of death, we not openly defy the system, but we document the animals that we see. We film and photograph them so as to show their faces to the world. The faces that are supposed to stay hidden are shared far and wide, to make people realize that they have been fooled. Their so-called happy chickens, happy cows, happy pigs are not happy at all. These beings are scared to death. They tremble in fear. Their eyes tell the horrific tale of their miserable life, and every last face shows the will to live. Documenting the horrible tale of what happens out of sight of the people has the power to eventually change these practices, as people see what they are really paying for when they buy animal products. As we all know, some people are shocked or saddened when they look into the eyes of an animal that is about to die, but others might not be moved at all. That is why it's so important to bear witness and share footage regularly, because a lot of people will not make the connection straight away. We need to keep planting seeds and also water them regularly. When the truth is presented over and over again in its raw and unaltered form, it will eventually be accepted as the truth. We just have to push gently and lovingly through the resistance of the mind. And yes, sometimes a harder and a fiercer push is needed, but we make sure that it always comes from a place of love. Because, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Some of our vigil participants have amazing skills. We asked Marike van der Staaij, who also happens to be a Save movement organizer of Nunspeet Chicken Save, and her partner Gijs Driesenaar, to create a video that illustrates the essence of the Save movement and of bearing witness. They've made both an English and a Dutch version of this video, and we are going to be displaying it on our website, which is being created as we speak, but also on various other online locations. And we will also use the video to bring the vegan message to schools and communities. I would like to show you this 5-minute video now, because it really gives an accurate impression of what a Save Movement vigil looks like and what we see during vigils, but it also raises questions about how we treat animals. Furthermore, it serves the purpose of showing just how powerful this footage that we take during vigils can be in changing hearts and minds.
When the suffering of another creature causes you to feel pain, do not submit to the initial desire to flee from the suffering one, but on the contrary, come closer, as close as you can to him who suffers, and try to help him.
With the Save movement, we do something that's called bearing witness. It means that we go to a place like this slaughterhouse and witness the last moments of the animals. We try to connect with them, to see them, to share their last moments. Our goal is to make animal suffering visible for people, to show them what happens at these places, which are often hidden from the public.
We do this by filming live streams and taking pictures and videos, which we share on social media platforms. During the demonstrations, we stand by the road with signs, and we reach out to people who want to talk with us about animal rights and ethics. Most people know what has to happen to turn an animal into the product we call meat. The product that is so easily available at the supermarket. But do we fully realize what these animals have to go through?
we choose to see their suffering? Or do we close our eyes and continue our life?
Sometimes we get the chance to comfort the animals after a long truck ride by giving them some water or a friendly human touch. We bear witness to cows that have been made pregnant year after year and had every single baby taken away from them.
To 6 weeks old chicks that are so heavy that it's hard for them to stand on their legs.
To ducks that have never been able to swim.
To calves that may have never had a sip of their mother's milk.
To pigs that have been forced to live in tiny spaces and have never been able to play outside.
And to these harmless and innocent sheep. We see animals that are vulnerable, unable to defend themselves.
They are brought to life and their only purpose is to be killed. To become a product that humans desire but not need. They have no choice, no rights, no freedom.
Do you want to keep contributing to this unnecessary suffering when you can live a healthy life without animal products?
While some of our participants make brilliant videos, others can write well. Allow me to read a few sentences of Erwin Vermeulen's blog post called How the Save Movement Saves Lives. He has attended many of our vigils and now heads the Stop the Slaughter campaign at our fellow vegan activist organization Animal Rights. Erwin writes, "There is something incredibly powerful about meeting these victims of our global carnist culture, not on a computer screen, but in person. Seeing these animals right before they die is something that you will never shake. It changes you. It removes any speciesist boundaries you might still harbor. It reaffirms you in your veganism and activism, presses on you the urgency of this cause. It makes you stronger as a person, more determined, but also more authentic as an activist." One of the questions or comments I get most frequently when it comes to attending a vigil for the first time is something like this: "I could never do that. It is way too intense. I'm a sensitive individual and I will most certainly break down if I go to a vigil." Or maybe I will get so angry that I'll beat up a slaughterhouse worker or a truck driver and I'll just ruin the whole movement. These are legitimate concerns because bearing witness is an unusual, raw, powerful and intense experience. It is hard to be present where beings are suffering and afraid and not to be able to physically take them from that situation and free them. But the amazing phenomenon with bearing witness is that it does make people stronger, as Erwin wrote. It is a remarkable thing to be able to directly connect with the victims that you have made a very big change for. You decided to be vegan, most likely because you wanted to help animals. But even if you went vegan for other reasons like your health or for the environment, chances are pretty good that you came along the ethical aspect somewhere along the lines and that you do care about the animals. So looking them in the eye makes you experience your conviction fully because you personally meet the reason for your decision to be vegan. But of course, we don't bear witness for ourselves. We do it to try and help the animals. In many cases, we can physically help them by comforting them, giving them water when they are thirsty, touching them, and giving them love for the first time in their life. This is extremely powerful, giving a being love for the only time in their life. Animals live in the moment much more than we do. We pretty much continually fret about the future or the past, whereas for animals, here and now is what really is the only thing that matters. So, for that moment that you can show an animal that there is love in this world, you change its life. You literally mean everything to that animal in that moment. And don't forget, animals are a lot more aware and intelligent than humans usually give them credit for. Plus, they're able to perceive different things from us. They know why we are there. This is something that I am totally convinced of. Have a look at this short clip, which I took in Boxtel earlier this year and which has become, up till now, our most viral video yet, with more than 205,000 views only on Facebook. Your own feelings of despair and sadness are put into perspective when you are face to face with the victims. Rather than crippling you, bearing witness empowers you, as it strengthens your resolve to do something for the animals that you care so deeply about. Also remember that we bear witness as a group, and we encourage each other to focus on the group experience. Since we all share this very unique encounter, we also share a very unique bond. If you're ever at a vigil and you feel yourself overcome with sadness, be assured that there is a group of people who do not only understand exactly what you're going through, but they will support and comfort you. And if you're still in doubt about attending a vigil, I want to nudge you in the direction of taking that leap of faith. I have yet to meet the person who regrets going to a vigil. As far as anger goes, it usually is not a problem to keep it under control. As soon as you see the animals, your focus will shift from the slaughterhouse workers or the drivers to the animals, because you will want to give and show them love, and there won't really be space left in your mind for anger or resentment. It's also very likely that you will blend into the general mood of the group, which is peaceful and respectful. This is a prerequisite for any save, because without those values, the save movement simply doesn't work. What helps immensely when confronted with your own feelings of anger and resentment is to remind yourself that the people working in this industry that we are effectively trying to close down are very often also victims of a sick system. This idea might initially go against your instincts, but just allow me to elaborate for 1 minute. More often than not, slaughterhouse workers are overworked, underpaid, and exploited themselves. Very few of them actually enjoy doing that job, and for a lot of them it's the only job that they can find, because nobody wants to do it. Unfortunately, in Western European countries, it is also very often the immigrants that do the slaughterhouse work, and this is something that I've been witness to personally. It has been proven by several studies that the incidences of violent crime rise in towns and cities where a slaughterhouse is present. This proves that witnessing or performing the slaughter of animals is traumatic and that it influences a person's overall behavior. It has also been proven that many slaughterhouse workers suffer from post-traumatic stress. When you take this into account, you start to realize that the people working in this industry are in fact exploited themselves, because no decent person enjoys killing for a living. And even if they do, it's probably only because they've had to bury their natural and normal sense of compassion so deeply that they have subconsciously been forced to completely numb themselves. I will never forget the day that we were having a vigil at the calf slaughterhouse Ekro in Apeldoorn when a slaughterhouse worker walked past us coming out of the slaughterhouse. His shift had just ended and he was going home, but he stopped to talk to us and ask us what we were doing. Upon hearing our reason for being there, he opened up and told us his story. He was a young Polish man struggling to find work in the Netherlands. Working at that facility was the only job he could get at that moment, and he desperately needed it to support his family. But he hated it, he said. He felt so sorry for the animals that he saw killed, and he wished that he didn't have to work at such a place. He also told us that he was already looking for another job and that he would leave that one as soon as he got another job. But I believe that there are many, many more slaughterhouse workers with a similar tale to tell. When I thought about that conversation afterwards, I found myself wishing that that man would find a different job very soon. And then I realized that if he did, his place would probably be filled by another desperate person very quickly. And the same goes for the actual slaughterhouse. If there would be one that got closed down, there would be others to take its place in keeping the demand up with the demand for animal-derived foods. It's the system that needs to change. The demand for animal-derived products needs to be replaced by a demand for plant-based foods. And this will only happen with large-scale education of consumers, and it has to happen on several fronts and using various strategies. The Save movement tells the story of the victims. Our role is to speak to that voice of compassion that every person is born with. Bearing witness has the potential to change the world. By showing up at places that would rather stay hidden and thus defying the status quo, but doing so in a peaceful and respectful way, is taking slaughterhouses by surprise. They might expect angry activists that come bang on their doors and force their way in which case they will have a reason to retaliate with violence. In fact, they might even have experience with this course of action. But when a peaceful group shows up on their doorstep, asking nothing more than to see the animals and give them love, it cripples their modus operandi. They do not know how to deal with us, except either to give in to us or to try and make it impossible for us to see the animals. Unfortunately, the latter does happen quite often. But the problem is, the more they try to keep the animals hidden and refuse to work with us, the more determined we become. Also, when slaughterhouses openly refuse to listen to us and have a decent conversation with us and hear us out, we don't keep it a secret. And consumers do start asking questions about what that particular slaughterhouse has to hide, since there are others who allow us to bear witness peacefully. Even when we have zero cooperation from slaughterhouses, we keep showing up and annoying them with our peace and love until they finally give in and let us see the animals. Well, that is the plan anyway. Luckily, there are countless testimonies of safe groups from around the world who started out having horrible relations with municipalities and especially with slaughterhouses. But after many months of persisting and with their love-based activism, they have finally been able to convince the slaughterhouses to let them see the animals and spend time with them. I was immensely inspired recently at the International Animal Rights Conference in Luxembourg when I attended a presentation of the Save movement. Lina Ella of Vienna Animal Save told us how after many months of love-based persistence, their group has been allowed to spend 5 hours inside a slaughterhouse to comfort the pigs before being sent to slaughter. Not only that, but their non-judgmental attitude towards slaughterhouse workers has led them on many occasions to have conversations that led them to convincing the slaughterhouse to give them various animals to take with them to live out their lives in peace on a sanctuary. But we cannot rescue animals on a large scale just yet. So back to what we can do right now to help animals. By flooding social media with videos and photos of animals on slaughter trucks, we make the invisible victims visible. We slowly but surely change the general practice of keeping these animals hidden. Because the more people see animal victims on a daily basis, the more they will demand transparency from corporations. When it becomes the norm to know where your food or clothes or other products came from, the exploitation industries will fall. People are continuously becoming more and more aware of what they spend their money on and making more conscious choices to support their beliefs and their convictions. But we still need many, many more voices to really change the world. We need people from all corners of the world, but also from all cultural and financial backgrounds, all ages and all walks of life, to be able to reach all the different kinds of demographics. In short, we need you. The SAVE movement has grown enormously in the last years. There are now over 500 SAVE groups in 55 different countries. It's actually almost impossible to keep track because new SAVE groups are started every week. I'm also incredibly proud to say that we have 16 SAVE groups in the Netherlands, of which 13 have already held vigils. Not only proud, but incredibly grateful that people are standing up and reaching out and committing themselves to being an organizer for the SAVE movement. So, why is the SAVE movement so popular then? Personally, I think it's the non-violent approach and the contact with the animals that draws a lot of vegans to this movement. And let us not forget that it is exactly that non-violent and love-based approach that makes this form of activism more accessible to the non-vegan public, and thus making the SAVE movement very effective in terms of the masses taking our message seriously. And that, in turn, is another important reason for the SAVE movement gaining momentum so rapidly. We see that it is working. We see that people are touched by the stories we tell of the individuals that go to slaughter every day. As much as these facts give hope, it is important to keep perspective. In the Netherlands alone, nearly 1,200 animals get slaughtered every single minute of every single day. In this country alone, there are 202 facilities where animals are legally allowed to be slaughtered. That, of course, doesn't even take all the fisheries, animals that are hunted, and all the other myriad of ways in which animals are exploited and killed into account. Fur farms, animal testing sites, factory farms, zoos, aquariums are just some of the examples of the industries that profit from animal abuse. And I'm talking huge profit, enough to invest billions in advertising and in keeping the public misinformed so as to keep these companies in power. Changing the mind of the world really is a David and Goliath story. The small group of vegans up against a seemingly undefeatable giant. But we have to do it. We have to have the courage to get involved and be active. The time of just being vegan is over because it actually is not enough. The world is changing, but it's not changing fast enough. And for the animals, there really is no time. They get killed by the millions each day. And animal agriculture is killing our planet at an alarming rate. Just recently, the UN published a shocking report stating that we only have 12 years left to try and bring climate change under control, or it will be too late. We are quite literally running out of time. I want to urge every one of you to get involved right now, right here, today. You can sign up for our newsletter, you can like our Facebook page and stay afloat of what is happening. But even more importantly, we need you to participate in vigils, invite friends, invite family to join you, and get actively involved in growing this movement. You could even start up your own SAVE group, and we will be more than happy to guide you through all the steps. Just take a business card and send us an email or simply write us a message on Facebook. We cannot allow these places of death and destruction to continue flourishing. They're only able to do that because they operate in secrecy and use illusion as their main selling point. This is not fair to the consumer, to the animals, or to the planet. Companies whose only way of operating is to make money off the backs of innocent victims without any regard for their suffering or for the fact that they mislead consumers and destroy the planet have to be exposed. And since we cannot all go and work undercover in slaughterhouses to film the atrocities that take place there, nor do I think that many of us would want to go through that trauma, bearing witness in an organized way is our best bet at changing the false perception that the meat and dairy industries perpetuate. Not only does this strategy build the proverbial glass walls around slaughterhouses, but it quite literally has the power to change the entire system, the entire world, with love and compassion. Thank you. I believe we still have time for questions. If anyone has a burning question, fire away. Can also be in Dutch. I did the presentation in English because it's going to be shared on the worldwide pages as well, but I do speak Dutch.
Ja.
Yes.
Vraagje. Ik zag een aantal plaatsen, Apeldoorn, Nunspeet.
Ja.
Zijn het allemaal van diezelfde mensen die allemaal in die regio wat doen? Of,
Oké, laten we zo stellen. We zijn begonnen met één groepje in Bokstel. Dat is het grootste slachthuis in Nederland. Of varkensslachthuis in ieder geval. En voor een aantal maanden was Bokstel de enige plek. En daarna zijn nieuwe groepjes gestart. En eigenlijk is het zo dat we hebben zeg maar een grote groep activisten die dan zo'n beetje meedoen met alle vigils. Maar dus eigenlijk willen we dat niet zo houden. Want we willen niet zoveel druk op de mensen die al actief zijn plaatsen. De bedoeling is dat we ook meer outreach gaan doen en echt mensen uit de regio gaan werven om mee te doen dichtbij waar ze wonen. Om ook niet alleen vegans te krijgen om mee te doen, want dat is niet een vereiste. Je hoeft geen vegan te zijn om deel te nemen. We willen juist de niet-vegan mensen laten zien wat er allemaal aan de hand is. Dus we gaan in de komende maanden en jaren daar zeker in investeren om meer te lokaliseren. Dat bijvoorbeeld Bokstel Pikzee wordt dan over het algemeen mensen uit de regio Bokstel. En omdat we ook veel meer locaties gaan hebben in de toekomst. Ja.
Zijn er ook gevaarlijke situaties gebeurd sinds dat Bokstel is gestart?
Ja.
Dat er bijvoorbeeld mensen bijna door een truck,
Ja.
door een vrachtwagen.
Helaas wel. De eerste paar keer in Bokstel was, dit waren best wel rommelige vigils. Want we stonden buiten het hek en we probeerden dus zelf de vrachtwagens te stoppen. Het is niet dat we voor de vrachtwagens gingen springen of zo. Maar een paar van die chauffeurs kwamen zo snel aanrijden dat ze inderdaad 1 of 2 keer bijna iemand raakten. En toen heeft de burgemeester gevraagd voor een meeting met het slachthuis en ons. En hij heeft voorgesteld van, hey, waarom gaan jullie nou niet op het parkeerterrein van het slachthuis staan? En dat is ideaal, want de directeur van het slachthuis kon niet echt zeggen van, nee, meneer burgemeester, dat gaan we niet doen. Dus hij moest gewoon ja zeggen. En nu hebben we echt een hele goede afspraak. En eigenlijk, je kan eigenlijk wel zeggen, een goede relatie met dat slachthuis. We kunnen respectvol met elkaar communiceren, al staan we helemaal aan verschillende kanten van dit spectrum. En kijken we helemaal verschillend aan tegen wat er gebeurt. Maar zij zijn open om in gesprek te gaan. En dit is eigenlijk juist wat we willen. Je hoeft het niet altijd met elkaar eens te zijn. Maar bij elk gesprek zeg ik dan tegen mezelf, misschien heb je dan toch weer een zaadje geplant. Ja. Zijn er nog vragen? Ja.
Nee, alleen een opmerking. Ik vond je verhaal heel goed en heel overtuigend. Ik wil graag met je meedoen.
Oh, fantastisch. Mensen die willen meedoen. Je mag sowieso al hier, ik heb een paar visitekaartjes meegenomen. Maar daar staat eigenlijk alleen maar het e-mailadres op. Kom sowieso bij ons tafel langs. Dan kun je een folder meenemen ook. En dan heb je de naam ook helemaal goed. Dan kun je ons volgen op Facebook. Want we maken er een punt van om op onze hoofdpagina op Facebook altijd een overzicht te hebben van alle vigils. Dus jij kunt zelf kijken van wat is voor mij dichtbij of handig. Of op welke dag van de week kan ik een ochtend vrij nemen of wat dan ook. Dus dan kun je een overzicht vinden. Ja.
Hoeveel groepen bestaan er nu?
Wereldwijd?
Nee, in Nederland alleen?
In Nederland 16.
En in de wereld?
520. Ja. Ja. Oh. Dit kan eigenlijk al. Verder nog vragen? Yes.
Worden er ook vigils in het weekend gehouden? Of?
Nog niet, maar we proberen wel, we gaan er wel proberen om te kijken, want we weten dat er sommige van die grotere slachthuizen zijn die ook af en toe op een zaterdagochtend bijvoorbeeld slachten. In principe zijn die plekken, ja, ze werken door de week, maar we gaan proberen om dat ook af en toe op een zaterdagochtend te houden, want we snappen ook wel dat niet iedereen even makkelijk een ochtend vrij kan nemen of wat dan ook. En we proberen wel om de vigils een beetje zo te doen dat niet alle plekken het op een maandag houden, maar dat het echt door de week is verspreid. Want sommige mensen hebben bijvoorbeeld dan weer juist een woensdag vrij of juist een vrijdag. Ja, we proberen zoveel mogelijk iedereen te accommoderen.
En als mensen zeg maar die video's en foto's zien, merk je dan ook dat ze wakker worden, dat ze die leggen?
We hebben verschillende reacties, maar wekelijks krijgen we berichtjes binnen van mensen die het zien. En die dan toch weer zijn gaan nadenken. Dat ze zeggen van, goh, ik ben echt geraakt door jouw filmpje. En wat we ook heel vaak zien, is dat mensen, hun eigen vrienden en familie, reageren op wat zij hebben gepost. Daarom moedigen we iedereen aan om zelf een paar foto's of filmpjes of een livestream op zijn eigen persoonlijke pagina of account te gaan plaatsen. Want mensen die jou dan bijvoorbeeld kennen, van je familie of zo, zij identificeren zeg maar met jou. En als ze zien dat jij er bent geweest, jij hebt die beelden gemaakt, dus niet een onbekende of een of ander gedeeld filmpje dat al hoeveel keer is gedeeld op internet. Dat is veel meer persoonlijk. En we zien ook soms dat mensen zich meer identificeren met de menselijke emotie. Dat als ze bijvoorbeeld zien dat het iets met jou doet om daar te zijn geweest, dat het dan op die manier binnenkomt. Als je snapt wat ik bedoel. Maar ja, we krijgen ook negatieve reacties. En dat is ook oké, want het betekent mensen praten erover, mensen zien het. We weten ook dat we het goede publiek bereiken. Soms op de een of andere manier belanden die filmpjes ook echt in de klauwen van de slachthuismedewerkers en de chauffeurs. En dan is het echt oorlog in de commentaarsectie. En dat is ook oké, want dat betekent dat het heel veel views krijgt en dat het wordt besproken. Mensen denken erover na. Maar ja, om je vraag te beantwoorden, we zien echt dat mensen dat het tot veel mensen spreekt. Ja. Ja.
Een beetje een naïeve vraag, maar zijn er ook betere slachthuizen in Nederland?
Ik weet eigenlijk niet hoe om die vraag te beantwoorden. Ik bedoel, een slachthuis is een plek waar een dier gedood wordt en geen dier wil dood. Er is geen enkel dier die, zelfs als het een ziek dier, geen dier geeft zichzelf, geeft zijn leven voor ons. Of zijn melk, of zijn eieren, of wat dan ook. Geen dier wil dood. Ik wil wel geloven dat er plekken zijn die proberen om het voor de dieren minder stressvol te maken. En ik denk dat veel slachthuizen denken dat dit is de manier om het op te lossen. Dat mensen alleen maar betere omstandigheden willen. Terwijl wat we eigenlijk willen is gewoon geen slacht meer. Maar ik weet bijvoorbeeld dat er enkele slachthuizen zijn. In Apeldoorn is er bijvoorbeeld eentje waar de dieren elkaar niet zien. En ze echt gewoon om een bocht moeten lopen en geen harde geluiden of dingen horen. Dus ja, je kunt jezelf afvragen, is dat nou echt beter? Misschien in die zin dat het dier dan niet zo gestrest is en niet zo bewust is. Maar weet je, alle dieren ruiken ook veel beter dan wij. Hè. Ze ruiken de dood. En dat soortgenoten voor hun zijn gedood. Daar kun je niet omheen, denk ik. Ja. Zo. Verder nog vragen? Oké. Nou, dan wil ik jullie allemaal bedanken dat jullie zijn gekomen. En ik hoop echt dat jullie zo meteen bij de tafel langskomen en een foldertje nemen. En ook op Facebook gaan kijken waar kun jij bij jou in de buurt terecht om eens een keer mee te doen. Yes, we hebben nog een vraag.
Een vraagje.
Ja.
De presentatie die je net gegeven hebt, de geschreven presentatie, is terug te krijgen. Wat is op zich ook gewoon een goed verhaal.
Weet je wat ik denk ik misschien ga doen? Want we zijn nu bezig met het maken van een Nederlandse website. Er is natuurlijk al een wereldwijde website. Misschien dat ik hem op de blog ga zetten. Want we hebben ook een sectie met als mensen dan over hun eigen ervaringen willen schrijven, dat het daar terecht komt. Maar ik heb hem voor vandaag geschreven. Dus ja, dan zal ik het misschien daar op doen.
Ik heb nog als tekst
Oké, ik kan hem aan je sturen als je wil. Dan moet je me gewoon een mailtje sturen en dan... Oh, je bent... Oké, goed. Is helemaal goed. Oké, heel erg bedankt en hopelijk tot gauw.